Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Wealth Equation podcast. Now, today we have two things to announce. Number one, we're in our new office, okay? And yes, it's a bit bare because I've not had time yet to hang all sorts of cool artwork up on the walls, but that will be there for next time. That's the first thing. The second point is we're here to welcome Stuart today. Stuart Pearce is our guest today. 17th of January 2025. Stuart, welcome to our show. Thank you for joining in. Let me just share with the audience, Stuart, a little bit about what you're doing and what you're up to, and then we'll hand over to you. So Stuart is the Managing Director and the founder of Smart Tech Energy, which I'm particularly keen to learn more about because having supported, coached, been non-executive director in similar businesses, it'd be really very interesting to learn more about what Stuart and the team are doing. So Stuart's website, very clean, very, well, actually I found it particularly interesting, especially around the types of businesses that you're supporting, Stuart. Makes this statement, okay, guys? So end-to-end solutions for carbon and energy reduction. So that's going to give us an insight into what these guys are up to. Let's talk about the wealth equation. Let's talk about Smart Tech Energy. Stuart, tell us all about it, mate.
Hi, good morning, Alice. Thank you. Thanks for inviting us on. So my name's Stuart Pearce. I'm the Managing Director and founder of Smart Tech Energy. We launched in 2014. And throughout that journey over the last 10 and a half years, you know, we've got three pillars of the business. So the first pillar of the business is consultancy. So that's managing everything from compliance to strategies, energy surveys, reports, and wrapping everything up over there. So that's our consultancy arm. And then our biggest USP in the business is technology. We're made up of a group of M&E, mechanical, electrical engineers, okay, as the core consultancy team. We're very techy. So over my career in the last 13 and a half years in this industry, really by building a network across the world and getting to know people is learning technologies. So we've got a tech stack of 34 different technologies that we work with organizations to attack their energy wastage, reduce their energy, reduce their carbon, and improve their profitability. So the second part is we sell those technologies as individual projects. Okay, so their projects could be a technology or a multitude of technology that goes in as a project. The client buys it as normally. They go out and get free quotes and they buy it as a project, and we deliver that. Okay, so our own internal install team will install that. Consultancy will specify and design it. Okay, and then the third arm of the business, personally, my most interesting part of the business and my desire and passion to grow the business because it's sustainability, not just in environmental side, it's sustainability as in business and growth and income. And we can cover that a little bit later on. But our third one is a program we started in mid-2019. By the time we wrote it and we signed the first client was the day before COVID kicked in and the first lockdown. But it's a shared saving program. It's called Energy Efficiency as a Service, EAS. And the idea there was from our experience in the marketplace and the hurdles that we were coming up against really was we would do these consultative strategies with energy monitoring, factual data, and we would be creating strategies at 33% savings for sites, and they weren't rolling all of them out. Some really interesting stats because we're data driven. 63% of our clients would move forward with some projects when they've paid for consultancy and there's a good strategy report behind it.
Right.
Further 5% would roll out everything in that program. So 63% just chose, well, what's got a quick payback or what suited them. And actually we had clients following for the next 5-6 years that rolled out another technology every single year. Slow, hard, and demotivating.
Wow. It sounds like your business is, what can we say? What words would you use to describe Stuart's business? Well, it's complex, isn't it? It's complex. Your offering is not it's not off a shelf. It's bespoke. It's individualized. It's unique. Very interesting. Well, how did you? You've got three arms to the business, or three legs to the business. Let's say. What was the first one? Where did you start?
Well, when we started, it was about how do we build a network? Because actually, when I started the business in 2014,
what?
Sorry.
A network of what, Stuart?
Build a network of clients, people.
Okay, cool. I just want to understand. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, no. I actually relocated to Wiltshire, where we are now, from Plymouth in 2014.
From Plymouth. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we relocated at the time for family reasons, etc. We'd relocated up here, and so I came up here, and I knew an aunt and uncle and three cousins, and I tried for
That is
several
the
months.
entire population of Wiltshire, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
No disrespect to everybody from Wiltshire that's watching. Yeah.
But so the first thing was network. First thing when I came up here was right, okay, I'm gonna look at starting my own business. I've been working with some other companies. Let's start getting into the marketplace. But I know nobody up here in a business network. So
Right.
I kind of become addicted to networking. So it was like breakfast, lunch,
Yeah.
dinners.
Did you
But I
put
built
10
a big,
stone on? Yeah.
yeah, I built a network across here, and it was brilliant. It was great, and it's a great way to start your business and get where do I go? Because equally, as you're going through the journey of growing your business, as you go, well, I need somebody to help me with marketing or branding. I need to create the brand name Smart Tech Energy and
So you lean on your network, right?
lean on
Yeah.
the network, get involved with the local chambers of commerce, and saying what courses are on, what grants are out there. So we found some small grants, and then we found that through those they recommended other people as their partners, and that was a great start. It was a great help to starting the business.
You literally started grassroots, solopreneur on your own,
Yeah.
and you built it from there. How many people are you today?
We're 11 today, and we're just recruiting
11.
two more at the moment. So we're just two more people.
So one a year. You've added one person a year, roughly, give or take, to the
No, well, it's up and down really. I mean,
Of
COVID was a
course,
bit of
yeah.
a knock.
Yeah.
We and I think as you go through the journey of business and over the last 10 years, is our path has changed. You can't. I don't always find you can just follow one path.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's for sure, right.
and that's changed over the time. You know, where we started off was consultancy, and we'd install monitoring to get some data,
Yeah.
and we picked up really quickly some great clients like Longleat. Longleat was a client of ours, and
Only,
amazing.
that's near you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Longleat. Great going down and seeing Longleat, but I wouldn't do the snake house. I said I won't do the. I'll let my colleague go and do that one. I don't like snakes, so. But
Yeah.
we did a load of work. We got into the elephant house and everything over there. The gorillas was feeding them nuts basically, and so we picked up some great clients and actually picked up some quick deals. We
Okay.
launched on the 9th of June, and we'd signed up multiple clients and actually rollout programs, but our projects by September. Then
Okay.
I got to get some installers. How do we get this done? And so I built the team.
How did you get such quick traction? What was that all about? Were you doing the selling?
Networking.
You were doing the quoting. You were doing it the front. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was. I think it took me 2, 3 months, and I brought the first person on, and
Brilliant.
then another person on. So we got to about 4 or 5 by that Christmas.
I
Um,
noticed. I noticed in your LinkedIn profile that you mentioned business planning and negotiation and such like. So I'm not focusing on negotiation right now, but of course, business planning is a subject that everybody loves, don't they? I mean, like, I was speaking to a client yesterday. She's getting married in July, and I said to her, so it's a little bit cliched this, so work with me, Stuart, keep your mind open, mate, don't shut down on me. And everybody else watching and listening as well. So this person has got a battle plan for this wedding. She's got 5, 6 months to go. There isn't a thing that isn't already decided, planned to the millimeter, right? Now, have a guess about her, well, business that's aiming for 10 million, okay, this year. And ask yourself, does she have the same degree of business planning going on in that business as she has in the wedding? And the simple answer is, without being too harsh on people, no. Full stop, no. Because we don't put the same effort into planning our business that we do into cool stuff like getting married, going on holiday, buying a house. So, Stuart, I noticed that, as I said a few seconds ago, on your LinkedIn profile, you mentioned business planning. So, tell us a little bit about how you went about planning your business, getting things moving in the early stages, but also today. You're now 11 people, far more sophisticated. You've got investment, you're pushing. So, how are you planning today versus what you were doing back in the day?
Okay, no, a great question, planning, and it's key. So in the early part when I started up, I got some grants, got some support, and we had a business coach, and it was really great. And they
Excellent.
kind of, you kind of do your circles. Where are we now? Where do you want to be in 1 year, 2 year, 5 years? Great plan, gets you motivated, gets you thinking, but that journey changes majorly.
Oh,
You know,
massive. Yeah,
it's a fluid. A plan is a fluid. It is very fluid.
absolutely.
Something a few years on, because everybody goes, oh, I'm going to do 500,000 this year, but I'm going to do 10 million next year. And I'd probably say to the business coaches, some of them, the ones I worked with, were very great, but actually challenge us more.
Okay.
Make us go and get the data, make us be more realistic with some of it.
Feedback, right?
10 years on, I definitely would say that, because I've still got the documents in it, and it was like a big A1 plan that was produced in the end, and series of circles. Yeah. And we're going to here, and we're going to do that, and then you do all your different spidergrams coming out of people, turnover, profitability, etc. But if I look at it and go, well, that was not realistic. I wish I had somebody that challenged me a bit harder on it.
Okay. Are you finding that your non-executive and investor is doing that for you now?
Yes, but you get to a point where you've done all the planning, all the research, all the development, and you've got to do the doing. And as a business where we are now, we are
about execution. Right?
We're a year and a bit into the doing, and I'll come to that bit later on. But throughout my journey, for anybody who's watching this, I think the qualification is more than 5-star, $250,000 turnover, but hasn't got an MBA or a degree in business, was in 2017. I went to a conference, and it was about Goldman Sachs. So I actually went on the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, and that was amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, really.
I'm on another one at the moment, and it doesn't have the impact. So they've really nailed it, and they've just, I think they've just come up to the 15-year point of doing it. But I'd recommend go and look at the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business. It's a sponsored program by them. They value it at £30,000. You've got to give your time, and time's very valuable.
It's interesting, actually, because I was just pull in there for a second, Stuart. Thank you for sharing that. And again, relating to the audience, people watching, listening, we've got to remind ourselves that there are 4 aspects to being great. Now, I know, Stuart, from our discussion, that you want to be a level 3 business. You want to own a business that's got great value and that operates and functions predominantly without you in the future. That's level 3. We know only 3% get there, right? So in order to be great, level 3, you've got to have talent. You've got to have work ethic. You've got to be open, and you've got to apply what you're learning. So those 4 key aspects there, clearly that's come into your space. Now, again, for the sake of everybody watching, well done also on getting external input, coaches, non-execs, etc. Because level 3 business ownership does not come by people having I know in their mind, sort of the closed tracks. You have to be open, right? Now, I want to talk a little bit, if you don't mind now, Stuart, just to change direction a little bit. Tell us about how the wealth equation, as we know, is time multiplied by money multiplied by health. If we don't have all 3, we're not wealthy. Okay, wealth of money alone is not wealth. Okay, we've got to have the time to enjoy it and the health to enjoy it and so forth. You're in business to make money, but talk to me about time. How have you found, what was the most challenging drain on your time on this 11-year journey? How did you handle it? Where are you going? How do you deal with it now? Just tell us a little bit, please, Stuart.
Yeah, and time, I'd say 11 years ago wasn't as precious as time is precious today. I mean, I'm 45, so I'm in my mid-40s. I've got 2 children, just dropped from school this morning, divorced since I've been through this business, Okay, and time was one of those. Time was one of those parts of, I think time and valuing people is part of it. But then I think you get so passionate about your business. Mm-hmm. You can become obsessed with it. So time is, we've all got the same amount of time in a day, but how we use that time. So going back 2 stages to go forward, one in a moment is the Goldman Sachs programs, great group of people, but it helped me create a really good plan and then look at my plan in a different way. It challenged me so much more. And then I still had a good team around me. I'll come to team in a moment, but then created a plan. And part of that plan was, how do we go from farming? And I class farming as I'm constantly looking for new clients. Okay. And I've got to win new deals, and that's exhausting.
Bringing in new clients.
Yeah. So I class that's farming. So how do we go to reoccurring? Sustainability for me is about reoccurring income streams. So
lifetime value, right?
Yeah. And the Goldman Sachs program isn't just for the 3-4 months you do it. There's events every year, and it carries on. And we had a great group afterwards for several years, for many years, right? And I remember in COVID still having weekly calls with our growth group that we created from there as a support network, and it was brilliant. Excellent. And that was 2020, so that's 3-4 years on. And where I was going to go with that there really is what we created was a new plan, which was our shared saving program, energy efficiency as a service, because what that gives us is a 10-year contract. And it's reoccurring revenues. We do all the work before we start the contract, as in the payment part of the contract, but we're paid for 10 years. So part of our plan and our growth as a business is, mine is getting that part. That's one part of our business to £1 million a year reoccurring revenue.
That's excellent. Yeah.
£1 million, £83,000 a month reoccurring. Perfect. And the aim there is once we get to that point and of that part of the business, and we're on that journey, and it's that we're in the doing phase, is that you open the doors and you're actually already in profit. And you're still selling consultancy, still selling projects, and you're still winning more shared saving programs. So time has been, where do we go now? We've got a plan, but we're now in the doing phase. So you said about the investor came in, and for the first year and a bit, he was very supportive, and that was part of the deal, to come in and work in the business 1 day a week. And my business partner, James, has been brilliant, and he did that, came in the team, challenged me, looked at where the weaknesses were and where we can grow it and how we develop that. And that was about time. That was about me. Yeah. When you're that startup business, you're that 100% doing everything. What I learned very quickly in the years to come was train everybody else, or get people in who are better than you, get people who can take the workload on, and trust. And that comes to team. In a small business, in any business, the people is the hardest part, I find.
100% it is, yeah.
The amount of people that we've gone through that aren't no longer here. Some of them are our own fault that they're no longer here because we didn't have the systems, we didn't have the business structure in place, or we didn't understand their needs. So you've lost good people. But, we have employed a lot of not the best people, which then slow you down in your journey. So your time is then taken up by recruitment and training. So it's where you want your time to be, to find the right people and find the right team to fit into your plan.
So can I let me paraphrase here a little bit. So I think what everybody's listening to here from Stuart is that in the early days, we're 80% focused, sort of getting traction. The commercial focus is immense. You're pushing for your network of clients and so on and so forth. Now, let's say a big percentage of your time is going to be focused on running the business, right?
Yeah. Well, depends on your team structure. I'm
interested in you. Where are you right now?
So we've actually gone forward 2 steps and gone back to 1. I'll say that statement again, because one of the parts my business partner, James, or my investor, came in and looked at was actually, okay, I'm doing sales. We had an account manager at the time, part-time. Actually, you need a full-time dedicated salesperson. So we went out, we put a large chunk of money into bringing the right who we thought was the right person. Unfortunately, 15 months on, we've come to an agreement that wasn't working. It wasn't hitting the targets we need. And if you bring a salesperson in, they've got to hit the targets.
Absolutely.
And probably my weakness was not recognizing that early enough, because I think when you bring another person into a small team, is that if they are a high caliber, they're bringing other values into, opposed to just sales. So at the moment, I'm back to the main salesperson, and that's one of the roles we're just recruiting for at the moment. We're just finalising. So my time at the moment is mainly into sales, but 1 day a week management.
So thank you, Stuart, for sharing that. It's really a great insight. There's a couple of things come out there that I'd like to underline. Number one, management by hope is prevalent in level 1, level 2 businesses, right? So we hope things work. What we don't do is hold people accountable enough. And I think it's fantastic that you shared your learning there. No doubt you'll go on to be far more productive and effective because of that experience this last 15 months. So time is now split between winning work and running your business. That's great. So now, again, we need to move on to the other aspects of the wealth equation, but just from a time perspective, what would you say is your key to self-management, Stuart? Because we know, don't we, that we can't manage time. We can only manage ourselves. You've said that effectively earlier on. So how do you go about managing yourself? What's the key? Share it with everybody.
Well, managing myself in a business terms is if my team's doing their job right. How much of my work that I could do, but I don't do. And to one of my junior members 2 days ago, I was just talking to one of our, he's a junior energy consultant here. And I was just teaching him about the D's. Do, dump, diarise, delegate. And delegate, and over the years I've learned, and then I've made sure my managers do it as well, is they delegate to their teams. So to protect your own time is, how much can I delegate?
Perfect. Great answer. Great.
So Mondays is a structured meeting day of energy consultancy team, management team, operations install, and marketing. And they've all got slots on a Monday, and it's like, try and keep as much you can for the Monday. If it's urgent, come and I'll talk to you in the week. But
Brilliant.
Tuesday to Thursday, I need to be working with clients and innovation and programs. I enjoy the innovation side. I love going out to brand new sites and going, right, amazing site. And then as a team, how do we work out how much you're doing wrong? And then how much do we reduce it through technology?
I mean, it's. I'll be honest, I'm totally getting what you're saying now. I can see the addiction to seeing a business or a situation and working out how to impact it in that way. Now, for the people watching, listening, there was something really interesting there. We talked earlier on with Stuart about business planning. What often people don't understand is that business planning applies to not only the long term, the mid term, but also the short term. In other words, the week ahead, the day ahead. What am I doing this morning? These are all business plans, aren't they, Stuart? And what hopefully everybody picked up on what you were saying. It sounds like you have a very clear plan for your week. Monday is organizational, Thursday is with clients, Tuesday, whatever. That's a wonderful thing. So thank you for sharing that. Now, let's move on to money. So what's Stuart's take on money? In other words, when you didn't have any, how did you go about accessing it? Okay. Now that you've got money, how are you leveraging it? Okay. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now, man. That'd be really interesting.
That's an interesting one. Money's great. And, I think we all have our own self-control and understanding and going, what makes somebody happy? Financially, you've got to be secure, relationships, children secure, your home life, and then pleasure, work, whatever you do. So I mean, money for a business cash flow is king. Okay. And I'd probably say as a small business, until you get to your level 3, and I know where your level 3 is, because level 3 is it's having that right value in the bank where, and this is probably came from James, my investor, it's always said, once you get to that point in business where you're making decisions which aren't impacting on desperation, or you're making decisions because you've got more than enough cash flow in the bank. You've got a big number in there, and you're not having, there's no pressure of I've got to go and win that deal or that sale. And I'd say, I had a startup fund when I started off my own money. I went out and found some grants to help us along the way, and along the way I've accessed. So I'd say cash and trying to build your business. You got cash generation, but things hit us as we go along. Look at COVID. Whoever would say the government's going to tell us to close our businesses, and then the impact on others. We had one of our clients at the time who owed us a large chunk of money. We lost £87,000 on that. They went into administration and closed down completely over, and they were just running their business very poorly on cash flow. And therefore, knock on was when something happened and they run out of robbing Peter to pay Paul, there was no further to go. So we lost a lot because of that.
How did you recover from that?
We took it as a hit. We took it as a hit, and luckily we were doing very well, and that was on our biggest growth year as a business. So that was 2019, 2020 trading year, and we were growing really, really well. But it takes a knock because turnovers, turnover versus profit. It's all about profitability. We made a small to replace. Yeah, we made a small loss that year. I think we made a loss of around about £30,000 because of it. Yeah. Okay. And then COVID kicking in and closing down along with that, being closed down for 3 months of our trading year was very, very impactful. So money is about trying to structure your business that you're getting them in. And that's, we haven't done it right. The shared saving program is starting to get there. We are getting to, my goal, we're about a third of the way there at the moment. This year, we're on that journey. And my goal this year is how do I get all the way there to that £1 million a year reoccurring?
Progress, not perfection, mate. Keep going. You're on it. It's good. Now, I noticed from your team on your website as well that you've got a CFO.
Yes, Martin. Yeah, great. It comes back to team. Just team as in general.
100%. We've talked about time, but now we're talking about money. And you've got somebody in your business that is an expert at managing money. How few people watching this are doing that? They're still doing the bookkeeping themselves. They're still worried about handing over the bank account and the finances in their business to somebody else. In other words, level 1 and level 2 thinking doesn't work. So, yeah, congratulations. So, Okay, I need to hustle us forwards here into health, if you don't mind. We've covered time, we've
Yeah.
talked about money. I'd like to explore more about money because, if I'm being brutally honest, we haven't talked about profitability. Can we just touch on that?
Mhm.
How do you guys assess that work is profitable?
Well, if it's delivered well, so if it's planned well, it goes back to planning, project
Yeah,
management is planning, so if we plan it well, and experience, I'd say from us experience, certain 34 technologies, there's a good cluster of technologies that we're rolling out regularly. We know it very, very well. There's a cluster that we do occasionally. There's a cluster that we do now and again. The ones we mainly do, we can make good profit. We can make the right profitability on it by managing it correctly. Okay.
excellent. So execution, delivery. Yeah,
Execution. Getting the money part is about getting your profitability right, understanding your figures, having a good team around you that's
data.
bringing experience, wealth, and knowledge, taking some of the stress off you day to day is the hard part to build that team.
Wow,
Um,
we're getting
yeah,
into health there, aren't we? Hey,
yeah,
listen, are you doing a profit and loss on each project? Do you know how much gross profit
yeah,
margin
yeah.
and
Yeah,
so on?
so depend. It's got to be a certain project value before we do. We don't do on everything. A small job to a bigger
Too
job.
small. Yeah.
I'll go back to the shared saving program again. For us, that's a 10-year program. So
Right.
just when you say about money, for me, moving forward the business, we've created the net zero as part of our consultancy service, but that's
Yeah.
been created to help our clients, but also that we see part of that journey is they've got to save money in the shared saving program we offer because the shared saving program, we technically roll out 90 to 95% of the total costs to get the program running. And then we're managing it for 10 years. So if there's a warranty issue, there may be a small amount of cost, but we've got a small amount of consultancy proving the savings every year, supporting the client, a bit of SaaS and a bit of SIM card cost. But in reality, our profit, when we look at that program and we follow our reviews, so those programs every 12 months do a savings review. When we do a savings review, the finance manager, Nichi, she then does a profit and loss on that client.
Okay. Good.
Okay. So
Good.
so let's just say client A, we throw £100,000 in. We've designed that program that's got a 5-year payback. What we've got to us, everything's put in at cost, but it's a 10-year program of savings. Now,
Right.
what happened 2 years ago was the energy market crisis. The utility rates went up. Now our program tracks the utility rates, so our
Good.
5-year return on investment came shorter.
It's very comprehensive, isn't it? It's very detailed. It's very
it,
interesting.
it's detailed, but in reality, the parts it covers is most businesses have lack of skill, knowledge in some area, and our expertise is carbon energy reduction. And so we go to business and have they got the skill, have they got the knowledge, okay, have they got the resource to do it? And as we're talking about team, time, money, it all comes down to that skill, knowledge, and resource.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah. So what's interesting though is we've got to remember, Stuart, that people watching this podcast are running cafes, garages, accountancy businesses, architectural practices, and they're 5 to 10 years behind you.
Mhm.
So it's just an amazing thing that you're sharing so much knowledge. There's an awful lot of very smart, pardon the pun, smart type things that you're doing here. Tell us about health now, because if we've got wealth of time, wealth of money, and we're not healthy because the strain of carrying our level 1 business to level 2 and then on to level 3 has impacted us, then we're not wealthy. It doesn't work, right? So what do you do? How have you took care of Stuart on this journey? And what are you doing today to make sure that the intensity of the process and the situation we're in now is manageable?
Health's a great one. I mean, I originally was in the military for 9 years. So I was in the Royal
Really?
Engineers, and that's where my mechanical electrical skills come from.
That
Okay, and I've
makes
got a very,
sense. Yeah.
very, very broad range of skills there, with good detail. There, when I was in the military in my 17 to 25, you're doing fitness multiple times a week. You're very, very fit, majorly fit. I came into the business world, and I work hard. I work a lot of hours. I try to get that break right for the family, etc. And therefore your fitness does drop down. And honestly, over the years, every time I was last year, I tried to get into boot camp, and it was hard, but it was brilliant. But then I said I'm divorced, so I got 2 children. The days changed when I'm having the children. I couldn't go to boot camp in it, and so
Real
there's
life,
there's
eh?
there's
Real
two
life.
parts of health. There's physical health, and I still remain okay physically. I still can beat my kids at 11 and 13. So when I can't beat them on the mountain bike or the running or the paddleboarding, that's a serious point, but I'm still okay at the moment. I would probably concentrate more on mental health here.
Okay.
Okay, not just for me, but for my team.
Okay.
Okay, and for your team. I think mental health is probably the biggest one. And I had a blow a couple of years ago, but luckily at the time it was when my investor came in and was working with me in the business, and I probably would say that part of my life was accepted to go, to do it then, because I think when you're running a business and the pressure of business, family, marriage, divorce, and everything else, it can be difficult. It can be really difficult, but you hold in there. I'm quite resilient as an ex-military person, and therefore you're going. But I think a few things came to a point in my life in 2022, but because I had the support of another person who was vested in the business as an investor, and it's a lonely place. It's a lonely place being a sole owner of a business, director, and everything. I had to take a bit of time out of the business for a couple of weeks to mentally recover. And when I'd put a punt out to something like BetterHelp, which was great.
Good.
Not probably what you want your podcast to talk about, but look after our mental health and your team's mental health.
Health, let's be completely clear on this. Out of the three aspects of the wealth equation, health is the most important one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So mental health, physical health, there's a real reason why we don't define health in this instance. We allow people the chance to talk about how they see health, right? So I think what we're learning from this podcast this morning with this brilliant entrepreneur, Stuart, is that it's not easy to found a business from day one. But if you make great decisions, you get out there, you network, you focus on generating clients and commercial traction quickly, you employ people as quickly as you can, you accept that you will not get it right every time, but you will learn and you will progress. Over time, you start to evolve a structure around you which gives you different, okay, Stuart, ready? It gives you different leverage over time. Now, the irony is that then because of that input, Stuart's business, everybody, starts to make money. It starts to grow. It starts to expand. It starts to attract investment. Great decisions around money. Money is an output. If we don't get the input right, we don't get the output. And then finally, what we've just had is a gentleman share the gritty reality that the weight of carrying a level 1, level 2 business on the way to level 3 is heavy. And it's a physical weight, but it's also potentially a mental weight for some people, for most people, I would say. So the balance across these three aspects is so important, Stuart, and that's why we've steered our podcast in this direction to help people share a little bit about the three key topics. And I've enjoyed listening to you today, I really have. To be quite clear, there's so much more about this business that I'd like to know, and I'm sure people listening would like to know more as well, because we've not really touched on your marketing and how the culture within your business. So there's more to explore here. Maybe we'll get you back, if you don't mind, at some stage, and we'll have another go.
We'll get that £1 million. We'll get that £1 million recurring revenue point, and
that's it. Yeah. That's it. £1 million reoccurring revenue. What a target. Okay, so I'll tease you with a minute. When's that going to happen?
12 to 24 months.
Okay.
It could happen quicker. There's and part of that growth journey is your clients change.
Of course.
You're fishing different ponds. It was explained to me one time, like recruitment, but your clients change, and we've gone from the shared saving program dealing with people spending £100,000 a year, £300,000 to, we're in talks and we're working with people spending like £8 million a year on energy. Now we work on shared savings, so if we save 20% on those sites, 25%. So that's why I'm saying 12 to 18 months. There's some big fish in the ponds that we are going through the process with at the moment. And what we're really good at, we're not great at the front end sales part. What my team is amazing at is actually the technical, making the savings, getting the wins. And now we're just learning to share the wins to people, because
that's the bit that they're buying, right? That's the bit that they're buying. Wonderful. Well, listen, we'll get you back. We'll talk again when you hit that ARR. Please come back and tell us all about it. Stuart, thank you so much for joining in today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you.
You're welcome. See you again soon.